Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS current affair analysis for 16th June 2020, and these are the articles we will be dealing today. The first article for the day is taken from the Hindu and it is titled Lessons for Yogi from Gandhi and Lee. This article is written by ex-Planning Commission member Arun Maira, and it is a very important article considering the present situation that Uttar Pradesh is in and what are the lessons for this migrant crisis. So, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Mr. Yogi Adityanath, has said that he would not want the workers migrating from elsewhere back to Uttar Pradesh to never go back to their workplaces. Rather, he dreams of an Uttar Pradesh where the workforce stays in their own villages and contributes to the prosperity of the state. So, with this vision, he actually invited a lot of companies, and in return he eased the labor regulations. So based on this context, the author is quoting the example of how Singapore has developed partnerships with various capitalists and actually grew their economic status, and how Uttar Pradesh can learn certain lessons from the founding fathers of Singapore. So, Singapore did not have any kind of natural resources when it was established, or when the city as a nation established in 1965, they did not have any kind of natural resources. So, what Mr. Lee, the founder of Singapore, the first leader of Singapore, did was he invited various companies from all across the globe, and people were attracted to the cheap labor in Singapore and also the tax incentives that Singapore was offering. However, there was a caveat. Mr. Lee wanted the companies which are coming into Singapore to invest in their human resources. So, this is the key takeaway. He wanted to ensure that when the companies find a better deal in form of cheap labor, he knew that they would eventually move out. So, in that context, if the human resources are not skilled, all the development will be rolled back, and he not only ensured that the wages of these laborers who are working in that economic setup get proper wages, but also they were empowered because of the training they received from multinational companies. So, building on this base and improving on the education system, the life standard of Singapore citizens has increased multifold. So that is the key takeaway from the Singapore model of development. You have to treat human beings not just as human resources, but also as human beings with aspirations. When you address those aspirations and empower them, development will actually take care of itself, and it will also contribute for further economic growth. That is how a sustainable growth looks like. Now, if we take the present case in consideration, we have to also take the lessons from Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi believed that villages are the places where we would find real India, and if we can't empower our villages and ensure economic independence for villages, we cannot actually see any kind of growth. So, very true to the present day as well, we have seen a crisis where many migrant workers went back to their villages, died on the roads in this process, and suffered unimaginable miseries. This is because the scope for development in these villages is still lacking. So, if we adapt the kind of approach that Mr. Lee has followed for Singapore in our Indian villages, we can ensure the kind of economic growth that Gandhi has envisaged for our country. If we take a present look at our world, we are moving towards deglobalization, where nationalism and hyper-nationalism are the trends. So, this trend of deglobalization is going to hurt Indian economy if we don't develop capacities in our villages. After all, when 60% of the country lives in villages, we have to ensure that rural demand is also up to keep our economy up and running. But that is not happening because enough jobs are not being created in our villages. Therefore, what this author suggests is that we have to empower the villages by making partnership with those kind of companies only which are willing to invest in human resources. Even if the wages are relatively low, the companies must be more than willing to develop the skill set of this population, because they should take ownership of these citizens as well. So, the author says an interesting point: this is not a migrant crisis, but this is a citizen crisis, because if there are enough opportunities for these so-called migrants, they wouldn't have migrated in the very first place. So, it is a lack of concern for these citizens that has culminated into the ultimate migrant crisis. So, in order to do that, we have to focus on the Gandhian ideals of Swadhinata, Swachhta and Swaraj. So, the idea of Purna Swaraj is a complete self-development oriented model of our villages. So, to that extent, we can say that the government's push for Atmanirbhar Bharat is also in tune with this vision. However, certain governance reforms are required to realize the spirit of this Atmanirbhar Bharat. That is the gist of this article. Now, the second article for the day is taken from the Live Mint, and it is titled "New Delhi should offer our states a new deal." If we take a look at the present COVID-19 crisis, both the center and state governments are in a deep economic crisis because of the shortfall in GST collections. One of the major reasons for this has been the lockdown, and there has been no business activity. And secondly, even before this COVID-19 pandemic, there was a severe economic slowdown, and which has resulted in fall in GST collections. So, the original premise was that if states come on board for GST, the center promised that there would be a 14% year-on-year increase for states. In the present situation, both the states and center are battered, and there is no way that this objective would be realized. In this present condition, there has been a lot of reports that the center might not honor the measures that were established under the GST law to ensure that states get their own due. The government can enforce this force majeure clause, or an act of God, which is generally considered an extraordinary circumstance under which we can go away from the rules of our contract. So, this has been the situation, and it is a deadlock situation. Now, the only way to come out of this crisis is that states should accept the fact that there is no way that states would get the required compensation as promised by the center in the GST regime. It is not just the GST collections that has taken a hit, but it is also about how other tax collections have also taken a hit. So, this being the case, our states should be ready to accept the reality that reduced sum as compensation is going to be inevitable. So, with states requiring money desperately, they asked the center for a hike in their fiscal deficit targets, that is from 3% to 5%. The government on its part, during the Atmanirbhar Bharat package, indeed agreed to raise the cap from 3% to 5%. However, there is a caveat again. If you increase the fiscal deficit from 3.0 to 3.5%, it is unconditional. However, from 3.5 to 5%, if you want to take additional debt, the center made it very conditional based on certain reforms. Only if the states undertake this kind of reforms, it will ensure that they get the additional debt. So, this was another major problem that state governments have been facing, and therefore, the first step to resolve this economic deadlock and ensure that states have enough money in their hands is to ensure that this clause of conditional transfer or conditional permission with respect to fiscal deficit target should be done away with. We have to realize the fact that tax revenues are not going to increase in short span anytime soon. Therefore, this is the reality, and the center will do well to do away with this condition. That is the gist of this article. That's it for now. Thank you.